The mechanic told me my car was totaled after a minor fender bender. It'll cost more to fix than it's worth. Something felt wrong. I got a second opinion. They'd been staging accidents and splitting insurance payouts. One call to state fraud ended their operation. The mechanic held my keys between two fingers like they were contaminated and said, "Yeah, your car's totaled." My ears rang. My hands went cold. For a second, just one frozen second, I thought he had to be joking, but then he smiled. That slow, greasy smile. The kind that told me something was very, very wrong. My 2011 Honda Civic, silver, 127,000 miles, paid off 3 years ago, sat behind him in Bay 4. I could see it through the glass partition. A dented rear bumper, a cracked taillight, maybe a scratched quarter panel, nothing more. I'd been rear-ended at a stoplight on Maple Street at 4:07 p.m. the day before, Thursday, rush hour. Some guy in a Ford F-150 on his phone bumped me going maybe 10 miles per hour. Minor, annoying, not total your whole life material. It'll cost more to fix than it's worth, the mechanic said again, louder this time, like he wanted the whole waiting room to hear. A couple of people looked up from their phones, an older woman, a guy in a suit. My stomach dropped. "Can't you just replace the bumper?" I asked. My voice sounded thin, desperate. He shrugged. Big guy, maybe 40, grease-stained coveralls with Tony embroidered on the chest. Frames bent, structural damage. Insurance won't go for a repair. Best to scrap it, scrap it. My chest tightened. "I need the car," I said. "Just give me a written estimate. Let me see what we're talking about." Tony tapped the counter with his pen. Rapid, impatient. "Already told you. Not worth it. We'll handle the paperwork. Get you sorted out with the insurance company. Handle the paperwork." Why were they so eager to rush me? "I'd like to see the damage myself," I said. "Shop's off limits to customers. Safety regulations. I just want to look at my own car." I said no. His smile was gone now. "Look, lady, I'm trying to help you here. Car's totaled. That's it. Sign the paperwork or take it somewhere else." I walked outside to breathe. The parking lot smelled like hot asphalt and exhaust. My heart was hammering against my ribs. Something wasn't adding up. I'd been driving that Civic for 10 years. I knew every scratch, every dent from the grocery store parking lot, every rattle and squeak. Nothing about yesterday's accident felt major. So why did it suddenly feel like everyone wanted me to shut up and accept a total loss? I'd bought the Civic used in 2014 for $8,000 cash. Best decision I ever made. It got me to work. Administrative assistant at a dental office, $42,000 a year, and back. It got me to the grocery store, to my mom's house on Sundays. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. Paid off, reliable. And now some mechanic I'd never met was telling me it was garbage. I pulled out my phone, called my insurance company, Safeguard Auto. I'd been with them for 6 years. No accidents, no claims. The automated system put me on hold. 11 minutes and 47 seconds of smooth jazz later, a woman answered. "Safeguard Auto, this is Jennifer. How can I help you?" "Hi, I was in an accident yesterday. My car's at Premier Auto Repair. The mechanic says it's totaled. I don't think it is. Let me pull up your claim." Typing sounds. "Okay, I see it here. Rear-end collision. Vehicle deemed a total loss by the repair facility." "But I don't understand. It's just a dented bumper. According to the shop's assessment, the frame is bent. Structural damage. Once the frame's compromised, the vehicle's unsafe to drive. Can I get a second opinion?" A pause. Too long. "You can," Jennifer said. Her voice had changed. Too cheerful now. Forced. "But Premier Auto is one of our preferred partners. We trust their assessments." Preferred partners. Like they were friends. What if their assessment is wrong? If you disagree with the total loss determination, you can have the vehicle independently appraised, but you'll need to pay for that out of pocket. And if the second appraisal agrees with the first, Safeguard won't reimburse you for the cost. How much does that cost? Typically $200 to $300. My jaw clenched. "So I have to pay to prove you're wrong?" "Those are the policy terms, Ms. Rivera." I hung up, stood in the parking lot for a long moment. Then I got in my totaled car, which started on the first try, and drove away. I drove 2 blocks to a small shop I'd passed 100 times but never noticed. Earl's Auto Repair. No fancy sign, no corporate logo, just a faded hand-painted sign and a soda machine that looked older than me. A man was bent over the hood of a Camry when I pulled in. 70 years old if he was a day. Thick glasses, hands stained with decades of oil and grease. "Help you?" he called without looking up. "I need a second opinion. I was told my car's totaled. I don't think it is." He straightened, wiped his hands on a rag, walked over. "Earl Thompson, let me take a look." He walked around my Civic slowly, tapped the bumper, crouched down to look at the undercarriage, opened the hood, shined a flashlight into the wheel well. Then he frowned, not at the damage, at something else. "You say they told you this was totaled?" "Yeah." He lifted the bumper slightly with one hand, wiggled it. "This is a 2-hour job, $300 for parts, maybe $400 installed." My skin prickled. "So, not totaled?" He snorted. "Kid, the only thing totaled here is whoever tried to lie to you." I told him the whole story. The accident, Tony at Premier Auto, the insurance company, the rushed paperwork. Earl listened without interrupting. Then he opened the hood wider, pointed with his flashlight. "See this?" he said. "These bolts here? They've been loosened recently." "What does that mean?" "Means someone was messing with your car after the accident." He pointed to another area. "These scratches here? Fresh, not from impact, from tools." My mouth went dry. "Why would they?" Earl held up a hand. "Let me guess. They They want to scrap it? Handle the paperwork? Real friendly with your insurance company? I nodded. He sighed, pulled off his glasses, cleaned them on his shirt. Classic staged repair scam. Been happening more and more. Shop gets a car from a minor accident. They tell you it's totaled. Insurance pays out. Shop splits the money with a crooked adjuster. You're left with nothing. Heat rose in my chest, not fear, fury. Can you document this? I asked. Everything you just showed me? Absolutely. Earl spent 47 minutes documenting everything. Photographs of the loosened bolts, the fresh scratches, the intact frame. He wrote a detailed report in shaky handwriting on his shop's letterhead. This vehicle sustained minor cosmetic damage consistent with a low-speed rear-end collision. Frame is intact. No structural damage present. Estimated repair cost, $400–$500. Assessment of total loss is not supported by physical evidence. He signed it, dated it, gave me 3 copies. What do I do with this? I asked. First, you call your insurance company. If they don't listen, you call the state fraud hotline. California Department of Insurance, they take this stuff seriously. I thanked him, paid him $150 for his time, drove home with my hands shaking on the wheel. I called Safeguard Auto at 2:47 p.m. from my apartment. Got Jennifer again. I have a second opinion, I said, from an independent mechanic. He says the car's not totaled. He says someone tampered with it. I'm sorry, Ms. Rivera, but he documented everything. Loosened bolts, fresh tool marks. He wrote a full report. Silence. I'd like to file a complaint. I think Premier Auto is committing fraud. I can note your concern in the file, Jennifer said. Her voice had gone flat, professional, distant. But the assessment stands until we receive official documentation from a certified appraiser. Earl Thompson is a certified mechanic. California license number. We require a certified vehicle appraiser, not a mechanic. That's different. How much does that cost? Typically $500 to $700. I closed my eyes, took a breath. I want to speak to a supervisor. I can submit a request for a callback. That typically takes 3 to 5 business days. This is fraud. I understand you're frustrated, Ms. Rivera. I hung up, sat on my couch for a long time. Then I Googled California Insurance Fraud Hotline. The number connected me to the California Department of Insurance Fraud Division. A man answered, deep voice, bored. Fraud Hotline. This is Agent Marcus Chen. I want to report insurance fraud, I said. What kind of fraud? A repair shop told me my car was totaled when it's not. I think they're working with the insurance company to inflate payouts. Which shop? Premier Auto Repair on Industrial Boulevard. Silence. Long silence. Ma'am, can you hold for one moment? He didn't wait for an answer. The line went to hold music. 2 minutes later, he came back. His voice had changed. Alert now. Focused. Ms. Rivera, we've had multiple reports about Premier Auto in the last 6 months. Can you email everything you have? Right now, pictures, reports, anything. Everything? Everything. My email is mckenninsurance.ca.gov. Send it in the next hour if possible. Okay, but what? Just send it. We'll be in touch. He hung up. I sat staring at my phone. Then I started forwarding everything. I didn't hear anything for 3 days. 3 long, agonizing days where every time my phone buzzed, my heart jumped. I called Safeguard twice. Got the runaround both times. I drove past Premier Auto once. Saw Tony outside smoking a cigarette, laughing with another guy. On the 3rd night, Sunday, 11:47 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Rivera, this is Agent Chen. California DOI. We need you to come down to our office tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Can you make it? Yes. What's going on? We'll explain tomorrow. Bring all your documentation. The California Department of Insurance office was in a bland government building downtown. Agent Marcus Chen met me in the lobby. Late 30s, Asian, wearing a suit and tie. He had a folder under his arm. Thanks for coming. Follow me. He led me to a small conference room. 2 other people were already there. This is Detective Sarah Martinez, SFPD Fraud Unit, 12 years. And this is Lisa Nguyen, Assistant District Attorney, 8 years with the White Collar Crime Division. They shook my hand. Ms. Rivera, Martinez said, we've been investigating Premier Auto for 7 months. Your complaint gave us the final piece we needed. What do you mean? Chen opened his folder, pulled out documents, spreadsheets, photos. Premier Auto has been running a staged fraud operation for at least 2 years. They work with corrupt adjusters at multiple insurance companies, including Safeguard. They target minor accidents, tell customers the cars are totaled, file inflated claims, split the payout. My stomach turned. How many people? We've identified 43 victims so far. Total losses estimated at $1.2 million. Jesus. Your documentation from Earl Thompson was critical, Nguyen said. He showed evidence of tampering. That gave us probable cause for search warrants. We executed those warrants this morning at 6 a.m., Martinez added. Premier Auto, Safeguard's regional office, 3 adjuster homes. What did you find? Chen smiled. Cold. Professional. Everything. Emails, payment records, a literal spreadsheet tracking which cars they'd scammed and how much each person paid out. Are they arrested? Tony Delgado, the mechanic you dealt with, was arrested at 6:47 a.m. So was the shop owner, Rick Morrison, and Jennifer Huang from Safeguard Auto. Jennifer, the woman I'd spoken to on the phone. What happens now? We're filing charges. Wire fraud, insurance fraud, conspiracy. We're looking at federal charges too since some victims were out of state. Nguyen leaned forward. We'll need you to testify. You're one of the few victims who fought back. Got documentation. Your testimony will be crucial. I nodded. I'll do it. The news broke that that afternoon at 4:23 p.m. Major insurance fraud ring busted in Bay Area. Premier Auto Repair, Safeguard employees arrested in 1.2 scam. At least 43 victims identified in auto fraud operation. My phone exploded with texts. Friends, family, co-workers who'd seen my name in the articles. Earl Thompson called me at 6:15 p.m. Saw the news. Hell of a thing you did, kid. I just wanted my car fixed. He laughed. Well, you fixed a lot more than that. The preliminary hearing was held 6 weeks later at the San Francisco Superior Court. I testified for 47 minutes, told the story, showed the photos, explained how Tony had pressured me, how Jennifer had dismissed my concerns. Tony sat at the defense table, wouldn't look at me. Rick Morrison, the shop owner, did look at me. Glared, actually, like this was my fault. Jennifer Huang cried. Her lawyer kept whispering to her. The judge, Honorable Patricia Reyes, 23 years on the bench, listened without expression. When I finished, she looked at the defendants. This is one of the most brazen fraud schemes I've seen in my career. 43 victims, families who trusted you with their vehicles, with their safety, and you systematically defrauded them. She set bail at $500,000 each. None of them could pay it. They went back to jail. The trial happened 4 months later, and by then, the case had grown beyond what anyone expected. 62 victims total, 8 Safeguard employees implicated, 3 other repair shops in the network. Total estimated damages, $2.4 million. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence. Emails, text messages, bank records showing payoffs. The spreadsheet Chen had mentioned, literally titled Payout Tracker XLSX. The defense tried to argue that the victims had consented, that the assessments were subjective, that there was no intent to defraud. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty on all counts. Tony Delgado, 7 years in federal prison. Rick Morrison, 9 years. Jennifer Huang, 5 years plus restitution. The other employees, 3 to 6 years each. I got a check from Safeguard 3 weeks after sentencing. $8,000. The blue book value of my Civic plus $2,500 in good faith compensation. They also sent a letter. Corporate boilerplate. We take fraud seriously. Committed to our customers. This does not represent our values. I threw it away. Got my car fixed at Earl's shop for $470. Drove it for 3 more years before finally trading it in for a Toyota Corolla. 2 years after everything ended, I was pumping gas when a woman approached me. Late 40s, nervous smile. Excuse me, are you Laura Rivera? Yes? I'm Maria Santos. I was one of the victims. From the Premier Auto case. I saw your picture in the news. Oh, hi. I just wanted to say thank you. They told me my car was totaled too. I believed them. I didn't have the money to fight it, but you did. And because of you, I got restitution. $2,200. Her eyes were wet. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it meant everything. My daughter was starting college. That money paid for her books, her dorm deposit. I didn't know what to say. She hugged me, quick, then walked away. I stood there for a long time after she left. The last time I drove past Premier Auto's old location, it was empty. Chain link fence, for lease sign, weeds growing through the cracks in the pavement. The building that used to house the shop was being converted into a CrossFit gym. I thought about Tony, about the way he'd smiled when he told me my car was totaled, about how confident he'd been that I'd just accept it and walk away. He'd bet on me being like everyone else, quiet, compliant, too tired or too broke to fight back. He'd bet wrong, and now he was spending 7 years in federal prison thinking about that mistake. I drove home in my Civic, still running, still reliable, and felt something settle in my chest. Not triumph, not anger, just the quiet satisfaction of knowing that when someone tried to scam me, I didn't just roll over. I documented everything, called the right people, fought back, and brought down an entire criminal operation in the process. They tried to total my car. Turns out I totaled their whole business.